Hey, how's it going out there today, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day. Thanks for tuning in to the Cash is King weekly recap. I am an owner-operator leased to an 80-20 split refrigerated carrier. Sorry, I don't talk about my carrier. It really doesn't benefit me any. But I suggest you find yourself a good percentage-based carrier if you want to buy a truck. I prefer you to buy the truck outside of the carrier. I know that's a little tough right now, but that's the way I prefer it. That way you do control your asset, but I get it. Things are a little different right now. So if you can't do that, I totally get it. Just make sure if you're going to do a lease purchase, get a percentage base, because that dollar a mile is so outdated. It is just an outdated, you can be a 1099 company driver for a dollar a mile and not have the risk of owning the truck or being responsible for the truck. But that's it, guys. Let's get on to the weekly recap. If you guys are new here, I've got lots of new subscribers. Thank you all very much, old and new. I appreciate everybody. Before we get into it, be sure to hit that like button. I'll throw that out there for you. Now, let me talk about weekly recap. I like to go over this. I go over these numbers every single week. Some weeks I combine weeks. Like when the truck was broke down for 3 weeks, I'm just like, hey, I didn't make none for the last 3 weeks. Business as usual, other than that. But I try to do one of these for every week, or I do one of these for every week. I've been doing them for about 2 years now. I don't put out these numbers to impress you, to brag. These are just owner-operator numbers. I do these to kind of pay it forward a little bit or pay it backwards. I'm not sure how you would consider that, but for the new people that want to become owner-operators and for the owner-operators that want to compare their numbers to someone. If you make more money than me, I'm not mad at you. God bless you and yours, because I know you've worked for it. I know you've worked for it. Truck drivers, they ain't no free money in being an owner-operator. You're running a business in a rough industry, a cutthroat, tough industry. So kudos if you make more than me. Let's talk about these loads. I like to go over the loads, tell you why I did them, how it all worked out. Bing, bam, boom. Love it. So let's get after it. This is why we're all here. So, let's see. Let's start off. I did a 6-day week the week before, so I took a day off, came right back at it. I started off in Minnesota. Now, if you guys been here a while, I live in Minnesota. I like to start in Minnesota. I like to run out 1,500 miles, turn it right back to the house. Sometimes I have to take a mid-load that gets me halfway back, unload, reload, come on back to Minnesota. That's typically how my week shakes out. And then, so I'll have like one really big week, and then I'll have like a mediocre week, because I'll typically go out. I'll be gone, anywhere from 10 to 15, 16 days, and then I'm back home. And when I go back home, I typically take 2 or 3 days off. Since I paid my truck off in November, I've been taking a little bit more time off, like an extra day every time I go home. It really has made home life a little better. So probably continue to do it that way. I have a 2016 Cascadia Evolution I is my truck. I call her Betty White because I named her Betty, and then she was white. So I said, hey, I love Betty White. Why not go that route? R.I.P. Betty White. R.I.P. Love you very much. So let's talk about these loads. Minnesota. I got a call, and the weather was not good, like across 80, and they called and they said, hey, would you be willing to go to Vermont with the bad weather? And now I'm a couple weeks behind. This is when they had the big snowstorm across Indiana, Ohio, all that. So I said, yeah, I would do it. Now, I'm not a super trucker, I'm no whatever, but the way I look at it is, if a load pays good enough, if we have to redo some scheduling or whatever, long as I get taken care of, you know what I mean? Because, like, if I got to shut it down, I'm going to shut it down. It's just how it is, I don't care if I lose a day or two. It's trucking, like, typically every winter I lose, like, on average, probably 3 to 5 days, let's say 4 days every winter, and lost revenue because of the weather. I try to plan around it the best I can, but sometimes sometimes it snows and you got to shut it down, or the roads get icy and you got to call it. You just got to do it sometimes. So anyway, I said, hey, would you do a 2-pick 4-dropper? I do a lot of multi-stops, by the way. Heads up, I love a multi-stop, especially if the money's right. I'd much rather babysit the freight and deal with the customers than to run a bunch of miles. It's just how my nature is. I don't mind sitting for a long time, so reefer works for me. So I go to the first pickup, and the broker calls me and says, hey, are you still at that first pickup? And I said, yeah. And he said, Houston, we got a problem. I said, what's up? He goes, well, the receiver on that one, which was the final stop, because they load the final stop first. He said, well, problem is the receiver on that doesn't want to take delivery for like another 2 weeks. And I said, well, I will babysit the load for 2 weeks, but, we're talking probably like $700 a day, I would think, would probably be what I want. Because this was a frozen food load, and I'm like, if I'm going to sit there and babysit your frozen food load for a couple weeks, I want a lot of money. I want a lot of money to just sit there. Basically, I'm probably looking at $5,000 a week just to sit. So they make some calls. They come back. Okay, we're just not going to do that stop. So they unloaded the trailer at that stop, and I went to the second pickup, and they loaded the next 3 stops, and they just left that stop off of there. It shortened my trip by about 300 miles, but they kept the money the same. I was really happy with that brokerage. For we agreed on a price, and I thought maybe they would come back and try to negotiate a lower rate with me on them shortening the trip by 1 stop and about 300 miles, but they didn't. So I actually got unloaded a day early. It was a true blessing on that one. So anyway, it was going to upstate New York. Went up in there, did 3 deliveries in the Albany area, the greater Albany area. So we go Minnesota to Albany, -10 degrees, 22,000 pounds. Yeah, they took about 10,000 pounds off the trailer they'd already loaded on there because we wouldn't go into that other stop. So 30 miles of deadhead, $13.39 on the loaded miles, $13.69 all in on that one for $8,700. Come on with that. Whoo, man, $8,700 for a run to Albany. These numbers are great, but honest to God, we need these numbers right now because how everything's looking right now. I think these rates are justified. Honestly, I do. So coming out of that area, right back to Minnesota. That's what I'm looking for. So that's what we got. This is a full 7-day week here, by the way, from the time I left the house. I left on a Friday and I was back on a Friday. I was looking at my calendar there. Trying to see what these dates were. This is a Friday to a Friday run here. And the load coming back was a 1-pick, 3 drops, 1 drop in Michigan, 1 drop in Chicago, 1 drop in Minneapolis. So I like loads like that, honestly, because here's my strategy on that. They get lighter as you go. The load started out at 35,000 pounds. It was a beverage, I think it was a beverage load. 40 degrees start and stop on that one, basically a protect from freeze load. Let's see. So like when I got to Michigan, they took off like 5,000 pounds in Michigan. And then I went to Chicago, and the remaining 30,000 pounds, they basically took half of it off in Chicago. And then I hauled 15,000 pounds from Chicago up to Minneapolis, which helps my fuel economy. But in the bad weather, it's kind of a wash, I think. So I had 106 miles of deadhead on that, 1338 on the loaded miles. It was not a straight shot back to Minnesota. I had to go out a route a couple 100 miles up to Michigan and do that stop. So that added a little bit to it. That load paid $5,000, which is another good rate I consider, but I'm kind of having to readjust my mind on these rates because I'm like, wow, I killed it. I've never done rates out of, upstate New York back to Minnesota like this. But then I think about it, and I think about the numbers in my head, and I'm like, fuel's, over $4 a gallon average at this point. You know, 388 last week on the national average. So we're over it now because it went up like 20 cents over the weekend. So, you know, it's like, I feel like these are getting justified. You know, truck prices are through the roof, trailer prices are through the roof. You know, stopped and got a trailer tire put on the other day. I've never seen a trailer tire cost that much. So it's like, you better be getting paid right now, you know. And I said this back, and I'm going to stroke my ego a little bit here. Everybody was talking about, well, this thing, this, that, and the other when the rates go down. But I said, what's going to make the rates go down? You know, my saying for probably the last year and a half has been $3 is the new $2. So back when you thought you was getting, you know, $2, or back when you were getting $2 a mile, you know, and now you're like, wow, I'm getting $3 out of that area. That's the new $2 because of the price of everything. With fuel being crazy high, trucks being crazy high, you can't get parts. Like, you got to stack some cash right now. It's just the way it is. So anyway, I thought that was good. And, it, you know, for me it was good. But, you know, I thought I killed it out of there. Then the more I thought about it, I was like, I don't know if I really killed that or if that's like, that's just the new normal. So, think of that what you will. So, let's see here. Let's talk overall numbers. Now, total gross for the week, $13,700. Most of you probably already knew that because I probably put that in the thumbnail because that's an attention getter. You know, sorry, it ain't clickbait if it's true, right? Which I'm on an 80-20 split. My 80% is $10,960. All miles, 2,813, 2813, 2,813 miles. All miles for the week. 136 miles of deadhead in there. 2,677 loaded miles. 5% deadhead, basically dead on 5%. I love that amount of deadhead. That's about the right amount of deadhead as far as I mean, zero's perfect, but we don't live in a 0 mile deadhead world because I'm not running contract freight here. I'm running, you know, refrigerated freight. So 5% is awesome to me. All miles, every mile this truck turned was $4.70 a mile. All miles. That's $3.76 a mile, my 80%. And that is $5.12 a mile loaded miles. $5.12 a mile loaded. You know, it's where it needs to be, honestly, with multi-stop reefer right now. Trucks are in such demand. I feel like that's about where we need to be, honestly. And if you would have told me 5 years ago, hey, you're going to be pulling freight for $5.12 a loaded mile, you know, I'd have been like, you know, what has happened in this world, you know, but hey, that's where we're at. All right, so now we've talked about the income. Let's talk about the outgo. You know, let's talk about variable expenses. I don't go over my fixed costs because, you know, you would just have to figure up your fixed costs, figure out what kind of truck you're going to buy, call around at your insurance, get some quotes. You know, figure out what you're going to do for your maintenance fund, that type of thing. Put all that together. Any kind of insurances you need. Everybody's just so different. I don't need everybody telling me, oh, you're you know, horrible, blah blah blah. I just leave that out of it. I get enough. You're an idiot because of the stuff I do put out there on YouTube, but I don't care. I don't care because as the great Taylor Swift once said, a hater's gonna hate, right? So I don't stress them. I don't stress them. We're about the positivity over here, you know, helping people, making people's life better. You know what I mean? That's what we're about over here. So let's talk about variable expenses. Now, if you don't know about Mudflap, I bought this fuel on Mudflap. This is where I buy my fuel. The Mudflap app is down in the link in the description down below. Check it out. That's all I'm going to say. I won't bore you to death with that, but check out Mudflap. It's well worth a download and a look. $15.55 on diesel for the week. I have been working on my fuel economy. You know, the big thing, I've been slowing down. I've not been going as fast as I was last quarter. I'm really trying to push fuel economy right now. So, really slowing it down. You know, I'm doing this out and back and then getting a 34 like basically every time I come home. I'm not sure if I got a 34 in between these 2 weeks. But with all this multi-stop, you kill enough time throughout the week to where, you know, your average day doesn't go over like 8 or 9 hours. So you're kind of being held back by the freight. You know, you got all these appointment times, so you can't just run it and deliver it and move on. You got to hit these appointment times. So $15.55 on diesel, $100 bill on reefer, $38 on DEF fluid. That's another one that keeps going up. $3.39 on tolls. You know, I go around the Indiana, but for the most part, I just deal with the Ohio. A lot of New York tolls on this one too. $13. I did scale that load on the way back, the 35,000 pound one, and I paid for parking over in New York one night. $20 in parking. Total variable cost $2,065, $2,065. So we bring over my $10,960, that my 80% of the gross, $10,960, and we subtract the $2,065, and that leaves me $8,895, $88.95 to do what I have to do with. So at this point, you know, if you're going to have a, you know, like if I had truck payments still, I still got to calculate my insurances into that. I got to pay myself out of that. You know, that's not strip club money. You know, that's not get jiggy with it money. That's you know, that's straight up what I gotta do, what I gotta run on. You know, maintenance accounts got to come out of that, stuff like that. So it's still a great week. I mean, my God, if I could do $88.95 every week, you know, I probably would be a pretty happy camper. That's a damn good week. You know, because once you can, and to think about it from a business standpoint, you know, the more gross you can create, the less your fixed costs matter as far as a percentage of your money. You know, so it's like, if my average week is $8,000, but like on a week like this where it's above and beyond like $13,000, my fixed costs don't take up as much of my money percentage wise. You know, so the key is for me right now, fuel economy. I got to get my fuel economy back to where it was. I started driving faster, and I was pulling a lot of heavy liquid loads. The fourth quarter was just atrocious. So even on winter fuel, I'm trying to get it back right now. I had skirts put on my trailer. That's a huge benefit. I got some other things I'm tweaking and working on. You know, probably put some mesh mud flaps on that trailer as well. Probably gonna put some air tabs on that trailer to help with the aerodynamics a little bit more. Probably like on the back, I'll do the air tabs. See if I can't get that that tail whip wind to go away with that. Now is the time to work on your fuel economy. Now is the time to get your fuel economy in line, because fuel is on the rise, and I don't see anything stopping fuel from rising right now. You know, I put out a live show the other day. The thumbnail was diesel was $10 a gallon in my thumbnail. I don't see anything to stop us from getting there. You know, if you know, tensions keep rising, the economy's pumping right now. You know, all things point to higher fuel cost. And you know, I checked. I always like to look at the TA and the Petro out there in Ontario, California. That's kind of my bellwether of like some of the highest fuel prices in the country, and it's over $5 a gallon there right now. So I checked it today. I think it was like $5.15 a gallon right there. So we've officially topped $5 a gallon in California, and you know, Pennsylvania's in the high fours, like $4.80 a gallon right now. My advice is fuel economy. Refine that fuel economy. Do everything you can to work on fuel economy right now if you're an owner-operator. And be sure to check out that Mudflap. I'm not just playing on that. So check that out. Check out my second channel down there in the description as well. Trucking with Diabetes. If you're concerned with trucking and health, you know, I talk about health stuff over there. I cook in the truck. I try to show some meals of, You know, it's money saving as well. If you're not just concerned about the health side of it, you're just living on the road in general. Try to help out with that. So if you know somebody that's new to trucking, maybe shoot them that one because, you know, when I was new in trucking, I gained about 80 pounds. 80 pounds. I was probably close to 100 pounds more than I am right now by the time I finished my first year of trucking. Yeah, I was probably like 388. Like, it's easy to gain weight, so check that out. You know, help out some new truckers, send that to them. And yeah, guys, I appreciate everybody watching these videos. If you made it this far, be sure to hit that like button for sure. If you're not a subscriber, think about it. Think about it. We do a lot of lives. Please come join me for a live show. I really enjoy doing those live shows, man. Those are fun. But until later, guys, take care of each other out there. Bye.
To outlaw these.
So,
Hey, you can't take that many pep pills at once.
no problem. I'll balance it out with a bottle of sleeping pills. Okay, we're all set. Let's put the pedal to the metal.